So, one of the absolutely fun things that I get to do is have some of the Dandelion-Inc. members as a guest on The Seed. I absolutely love it because all of these women are absolutely phenomenal. They all have the biggest dreams and aspirations that are all for the betterment of their community. And this week, I had the phenomenal opportunity to listen to Meghan DeGregory, who is spearheading Thrive 1010. It is a nonprofit organization that is all about supporting their community. So tune in, listen to the amazing organization that they are. And if you want more information about Meghan, make sure you listen to the end. Welcome to The Seed, cultivating growth and empowering women in business, brought to you by Dandelion-Inc. I'm your host, Lisa Resnick, and this podcast is all about connecting, developing, and supporting women in business. Join me as we explore tips and insights on leadership, business development, and social media strategies that can help you thrive. We'll also hear from amazing guests who share their stories and experiences, offering inspiration and practical advice for your entrepreneurial journey. So tune in, download, like, and subscribe. And remember, if you love what you hear, share it with others. Together, let's cultivate growth and empower women in business. Hey everyone, welcome to The Seed. Today we have a super special guest who I love dearly, one of the members of the Dandelion-Inc. community or the Dandelion Collective, whatever you want to call it. We are here with Meghan DeGregory. She is spearheading this phenomenal nonprofit organization, Thrive 1010. I'm going to let her get into it, but really what I want to first talk about is Meghan's story, because I feel like we all have our stories to tell. And I think it's super important for us to get that out there because that is what typically has led us to where we are today. So I'm gonna let you take the reign, Meghan. Go ahead, go.
Okay, so I'm Meghan DeGregory. I feel like I've had a couple of different lives in my lifetime, and I am the director at Thrive 1010. But prior to that, I worked in mental health for 30 years and also was a psych nurse for 18 years. Um, I'm married. I have three sons. I was a teenage mom. Hard fought battles won. We grew up together, all of those kind of things. And I have always had a passion for standing up for people and for caring for people, but also for empowering people. And that has always been my mission, no matter where I was. So in 2021, I had been working in community mental health for many years and loved it, never would have left. But we had a change in the whole world around that time. And what we were doing and how we were doing it changed. And I just didn't feel as effective in my work. And I knew it was time for a transition. And at the same time, the church that I go to was looking for someone to come on board and to assist with certain things. And they were also talking about starting a nonprofit to help expand out some of the ministries that they'd already had. And so it just worked. It wasn't anything I planned, wasn't anything other than it was just the way it should be. And so I came on board to help be both helping at the church, working as their ministry coordinator, but also to develop out Thrive 1010. And I'll tell you just a little bit about Thrive 1010, and then we can move forward. But Thrive 1010 was started to expand out ministries that Girard First United Methodist already had. They had a program that was started by a previous staff member who really wanted to reach out to women in a very real, intimate way that build relationships. And so they started Ruth's Boutique, which provides hygiene supplies to women, but it also did it so that people would have time to sit and talk in a cafe-like environment, coffee, pastries, that kind of thing, and really build relationships of trust. And so with that, we wanted to expand that out. And so when I came on board, we did a little bit of expansion. But that's just a part of my story. And I'm going to move it back to Lisa
I
to
am
see
gonna,
what else she wants to know.
so I mean, really, if you look at, and I am sure you've done this, the connectivity of everything that you've done and how really everything that has led you to where you are at Thrive 1010 also makes you the perfect person to spearhead this organization because you have been in the mental health. So, which is a vast variety of people that I'm sure that you've seen come through the door economically, gender, whatever. There's no like, oh, only this group has issues with mental health. No, that is an issue across the board. And you've also, like the psych working in that environment as well, can be super heart-wrenching because there you also know that it's also very resource of
Mm-hmm.
what's available to people to help them sell, excel, and achieve and try to get into the position in life where they truly want, because nobody wants to be like scrimping by. Nobody wants to like feel so inferior to the rest of society and those people around them. Nobody wants to sit there and walk into a room and think of themselves less. And all they do is point out everybody else and their achievements and where they are not in life. Nobody wants that for themselves. It's not healthy for them. And that's what I love about Thrive 1010 and where you are now, because it's all your knowledge, all your expertise of firsthand in dealing with people and helping people. That's what you can bring into Thrive 1010 is because what you're trying to do is let's curtail this and let's try to head this off at the beginning so then I am helping out in the ways before they get to that next level. Let's build them in a different way. And I absolutely love that. And Megan did not get into this about the boutique that was created. It's it is one of those boutiques that you walk in and you're shopping. So it's not just about your tampons. It's not just about diapers. It is look at these jewelry pieces, these dresses that you can also take away with you. It is a shopping experience. It's like a downsized like Myers or Target or whatever you want to say that is accessible to people. And I think that is absolutely beautiful. I really do. But there's this whole other component in which Megan, I would love for her to dive into a little bit more, that is all about what we all think about. I feel like I hear this word almost as much as I hear the word authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually it's two words, generational wealth. That's
Yeah.
the other thing that I constantly hear about is how do we create generational wealth? And Thrive 1010 is not only just providing that boutique experience, which does it, like if you've ever been in that situation, or if you're just in general an empathetic person, like walking into that environment, you're going to feel better about yourself and about where you are shopping for the needs
Yeah.
versus if you were in a situation where you have to go and like pick up items and you're like I'm going here and this is the handout. It's a true shopping experience. It really is. But let's talk
Yeah.
about the other component of
Yeah.
where you guys have expanded out even further because I think this is absolutely amazing and this is just beyond like the donations to the boutique. This is that next level of how you have your two customers, if you will. The two types of people that you reach out to are those that can give more than just donations, or maybe even those people that maybe not be able to give monetary donations, but can give back so much more with their expertise and what they can
Absolutely.
provide. So go ahead, go.
Well, absolutely. And I'm actually going to back up a little bit to Roost Boutique because as you're talking about it, I'm thinking a few things. The shopping experience is really super important. And we had expanded out not only to serve women, but we now serve the whole family. So we have diapers through Project
Yes.
MKC. We have men's products. We have family products. We do books. We also have pet food. And we did that because we had certain people that we served that had emotional support animals. And when they were struggling to feed their pet, they were struggling. And so we know that we want to serve the whole family. And the point of doing the bag, handing someone a bag and having them shop, I can pick out what speaks to me,
Mm-hmm.
the thing that makes me an individual, and it helps to keep my dignity intact. I grew up poor. I was the recipient of a lot of these items, and it was beautiful for someone to give me a bag of items. Do not get me wrong, and it's very
Yes.
appreciated. But what sets us apart is just a little bit different in how we do it because we're able to do it that way, is to be able to pick out what it is that speaks to you, which helps. And then we have a whole group of volunteers that when you talk about either monetarily or in other ways giving, we have people who come in and spend time helping to stock things. We have people who donate inventory. We have people who come on the day of the boutique and serve. And it's a large event. We serve a lunch and we have a speaker come in. So someone who maybe wants to come in and share their expertise about their program. We have a fellow Dandelion member, Susan, who's going to be coming in a few months and talking about
Yes.
her program, the Ever Project.
We are all
So
about
it's all
collaboration.
about that. Yeah, it's all about exposing all of us to new ideas, to have so much resource building, and it starts with Roost Boutique because it starts with those very basic products. But I know you were talking about getting ahead and just getting my world, which
Yes.
is just a phenomenal program. It's a national program run through the AHA process. We found out about it because we did a Bridges Out of Poverty seminar several years ago, which I will talk about a little bit later. But we did that and we learned about the program Getting Ahead and Just Getting By World, which teaches people who are either living in under-resourced a life or instability, chaos, poverty, ways that they can use the resources that they have to leverage off the things that maybe they don't have so much strength in. So for some people like myself, I know that I have a really strong language resource. So I was able, after going through the program, which changed my life, and all of the other facilitators too, this is such a mindset shift for people that it taught me that my resource in language helps me to leverage out maybe things I maybe struggle with a little bit more. And I can talk about this for days. But the whole point is building up an individual either back or maybe they never had this because maybe they come from generational poverty.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they have a family history of mental health challenges or substance use issues that kept them from having that next step self actualization that can come when we realize our value because every single person has value. So, though this program is made for people living in poverty, I almost feel as though it's a disservice in many ways because there is so much in this program that can teach so many people about who they are as an individual and what they bring to the world. So, a couple of the quotes that I have from people who have taken the class are it saved their life.
Yep.
They
Bring
learned
it.
about resources they never had. Um, they go through a 16-week program that is 3 hours in length each week. This is a huge commitment. We sit around a kitchen table type style with most of the time homemade meal and we talk, we eat, we go through the curriculum. There are 10 modules over 16 weeks.
I
We
love it.
begin talking about financial literacy. We talk about my life now, which means looking and taking a very glaring look at your emotional space, but more so your economic situation. Many of our folks are living on Social Security disability. They are disabled. They have very limited income that they can work with. But what this does is it allows them to look at it, see their debt to income ratio. They're very basic things in financial literacy, what they can and can't afford, which can be very disheartening initially. But you have to know where you are to know where you want to go.
It's
So the
true.
first 3 weeks or so, you're talking about those financial pieces, which again can be difficult. But we then begin to talk about why is it important to know your audience and who you're talking to, your language? Why is it important to have social capital and have people from all different walks of life that you walk alongside of so that you can not only learn from them, but they can learn from you? This is so important. Why is it important for me to learn that there are 11 resources that each individual has to varying degrees? And I may have thought money is the only thing in this world that matters, but I could talk
That,
myself out of a paper bag, and that's a resource that not everybody who has money has.
yes.
How do
So
I
money
leverage
does
that?
matter, but it
It
is
does
not
matter.
it's not the only thing that matters.
It
And
isn't.
yeah, and you're right. Just like you said, what did you say? Talk yourself out of.
I can talk myself out of a paper bag. I may not have a lot of money, but I am able to
Yeah.
have. That's one of my resources. My other resource is
Well,
I
that
have
falls along with
motivation. I
language.
never give up. So, I mean, those kind of things. And what we do is we look at those resources and they do a deep dive into those things and they're very honest about those things. Where I fit financially, where I fit spiritually, where I fit all of those things. And you can see this is not a financial piece anymore. This is now we're talking about our value, what we bring to the world. And so, because of that, our individuals have a renewed sense of hope for what they do bring to the world. And when they graduate, we offer a program called Staying Ahead, which allows them to become leaders and
This
mentors.
is what I love. This
Mm-hmm.
is, it's not just about, because reciprocity is super important to me. I think that is how the world should work. And I love the fact that you have created a an educational platform for them to not only learn the dynamics and help improve and their mind shift and know their strengths and all that other stuff that we should all, no matter what economic level that you're in life, should be paying attention to. I do love the fact that after they go through it, because this is often what happens, again, no matter what economic level in life you're in, but you go through this process, you've taken these courses, you've done the deep dive, taken the self-assessments, whatever it may be, and then you don't do anything with it. So you have offered up this ability for them not to forget and to apply because they are now a leader and a role model for others to see. So there's that drive of wanting to be that success story. And success is always defined differently for whomever it is. So I think I love that component of it. And there's something else that I also wanted to touch on that you mentioned. And I think that for anyone listening out there, if you heard Megan talk about this, she mentioned how they went outside of their box and found this other program that was a national program and participated in that. And that was that level of growth that they needed. I am all about like don't stay in your silo. Silo doesn't just have to be your office. A silo could be your city, your township, your county, your state. Do not do that. Look outside. So I have to ask, like, what was that? What was the stimulant that made you like, hey, let's look outside and see? Because it's yes, it can be just a simple Google search. Sometimes it's a little bit more. And I think that a lot of people, while it may be an obvious to some and what they should be doing to expand themselves and the growth that they want and the impact that they want, I don't think that a lot of people really understand how to go about doing it. So what was that component that create like made you do the search and see what else was out there?
It really truly did happen with having the Bridges Out of Poverty seminar and learning about that program. And we just couldn't get it out of our mind. So it was 2 years later that we finally decided to just jump on it. But we kept talking about it. This is it. And the way we found the folks that we served were the people that we serve at Risk Boutique. It was a natural, we had worked so hard to build relationships with individuals of trust so that when we said, hey, we came across this program, it's new to us, but we really think that it's life changing. Would you want to jump in with us on this? And then what I think is unique about what we do, and it really happened organically, was that we then pulled along people from different organizations to come in and talk. And we call it a lunch and learn, but it's
Yep.
a way to connect individuals who in their real life want to make a difference. They're financial planners. We have had a psychiatrist, we've had counselors, we've had authors come in their real life, they want to go ahead and expand and help people in their discipline. And they come in and they talk to our folks about those kind of things. So when we talk about expanding out, we just kind of looked just a little bit next door and we found that. Because I don't care who you are or what you do, when you are looking for someone who needs help and who needs support, you do not have to look far. You just
No.
have eyes to see it. That's all. And honestly, I'm going to tell a story about a person who I don't know well, but I had done a mental health first aid class in her space. And so we spent several weeks together doing this class. And so you kind of get connected in that, because in those classes we really talk about real personal, we dive deep. And so you really kind of build a connection pretty quick. And she had never come to our Ruth's Boutique before, but she came a week and a half, 2 weeks later. And I said, hey, it's great to see you. I say that to nearly everyone. And it's not that it's not great to see them. It's just my thing.
Yeah.
It's what I say to someone. I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy you're here. I feel that way. But it isn't anything that I'm specific to any one person. And she came up to me at the next meeting, the next mental health first aid class, and said, I need you to know how important it was for you to say it was good to see me. Nobody says that to me.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah. And I think many of us feel that way in many different ways. We just don't know it. We don't feel seen. And something that I take as just a greeting, as a way to tell someone I am happy that they're here, but it's no different.
You know,
She just took that to heart, and it,
you
it
know
made
what
her feel valued.
what's beautiful about that is that I think it's important that you're projecting that side because you got to hear it from the other person who heard it from you.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times people are apprehensive to bestow that greeting on people or be the smiley person because
Mhm.
they're uncertain in how it's going to be received. So you have the one that can give that is on some level the fear of rejection. It doesn't have to be
Sure.
like a hand in your face or anything like that. It's just how are they going to judge me
Yeah.
by my greetings or by my commentary, whatever it may be. So there's that level. So it's really good for people to hear of the why of doing it because I don't give a crap if there are 10 people that didn't receive your it's great to see you today to know that you've hit that one person.
Yeah.
That's because that's the person who counts. The other ones, they've moved on. They don't care either way. But that
Right.
one person, and that's why you do it. That's why you
Oh,
give that level.
absolutely. And it's genuine. It's not
Yep.
something that I just say,
Yeah.
but it is definitely more so me just it's the language that I use when I'm like, I recognize this person. I'm really glad that they're here. Hi. But it's more than that. And I don't think anything of it. And this person, it sounded as though it made a huge difference in their life. And I think it's important for us to remember that we have so much power over how people feel, good or bad. And we just need to remember that our words matter and that our approach matters. We're not always going to have a good day. I'm not always going to feel up to saying those kind of things, or because I'm sometimes needing to be the recipient of that.
Yep.
But knowing that people feel seen by you as an individual and that they feel acknowledged, that goes a long way. And I think that that's some of what getting ahead and staying ahead do, because getting ahead 16 weeks, it's not a long time, but I will tell you, we in our first class we had a group of 7 women. One of our investigators, that's what we call it because we're investigating our life, one of our investigators lost 2 adult children
Oh my
during that
gosh.
16-week time, within 23 days of one another, both unexpected, both tragic, um, and and they didn't have a whole
That
lot of
is a parent's
people.
worst nightmare.
Oh, absolutely. And she reached out to the facilitator, to me, the day of, and actually asked us to come on site to be with her. And then her co-investigators in the class served at the funeral. Those are the kind of relationships that are built in a short 16-week class. So as we watch people from from rooms that they would never walk into together,
Hmm.
we had people from the age of 18 to 83 in this class who are teaching one another, truly. Your 83-year-old is learning as much from the 18-year-old as the other way around,
Oh,
because
agree.
that's what they're doing. And so when you have a group of people come into a room, they would have never been in the same room together, different genders, different backgrounds, different socioeconomic statuses, ages, all of those kind of things, different political stances, religious stances, because we have our space in a church. Many people consider it a religious thing, even though Thrive 1010 isn't a religious organization. We obviously are very close to our church and we have a lot of ties with that, but we're by no means a religious organization. So you have some people who come in and they think that they're coming to church, and then they're like, oh, this is different, because it's not. But they consider Girard First United Methodist their church because they've had that kind of support within that building and within those programs. But also within staying ahead, what they did was it happened organically. We graduate in May. By June and July, we're like, well, we'll get together next month. And people are contacting us saying, I'm having this issue, I'm having that issue. A lot of interpersonal issues that were not existent in the previous 4 months because they had that support. So we're like, we got to do something, we got to figure something out. So we said, well, we'll meet once a month, and then let's see if they can come back and mentor the people who are coming in to just start. And so when you watch someone who graduated in December come in March to the next class and say during the resource building where you're assessing your resources, say in October of last year, I did my resources and I was at a 1 in my finances. I'm at a 3 now. I've improved that much. My finances haven't changed at all. It's how I'm approaching them.
Yep.
It's how I spend. It's how I value myself and my money. It's about me having a different viewpoint. And she was in tears when she was telling the people who were just starting this, going, oh my gosh, I'm at a 1 in my finances. This is never going to get any better. She was in tears explaining, my finances haven't changed. My income's no different. It's my approach. It's the way that I value myself. And I want you to know that this can be done, but it's going to require work. And she did.
There is there is such a massive connection between our mindsets and our finances. It is such, I mean, there is no dotted line. It is a strong, solid line. It's the thickest level that you can get in your editing. That is how connected it is. It's not, and many times it is one of those things of where you're not lacking in income. What you're lacking is how you're utilizing the
Yeah.
income that is being brought to you. I mean, heck, there are people who are afraid of success and they don't realize how much that's impacting
Yeah.
their ability and that generational wealth, whatever their reasons may be, whether it is an experience they had with somebody who had money or or them not feeling worthy enough of it.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter. Like, but but to get to the root of it does matter because that's the only
Absolutely.
way that you can scale that level up from a one. So I also want to ask you, and we talked about this, I want to say it was the end of last year. It had to have been because we're still at the beginning of this year. But what is it that your goals that you're looking forward when it comes to Thrive 1010 and yourself looking at 2025, 26, 27? What are you looking at expansion and growth that way?
Well, we've kind of already started some of that. We started off serving people with the pathway of serving, providing basic supplies, a lunch, a learn, to the getting ahead, which helps to build out resources and build mindset, to staying ahead, which builds leadership skills. And we'd expanded out because I worked in mental health for so long. I was certified as a mental health first aid instructor and have since also been certified as a facilitator for Bridges Out of Poverty and another program called WISE, which is teaching adults 55 and older how we metabolize alcohol, meds differently, why we need different social
Not
connections, all
well.
of those kind of things. Right. It's completely different. It's a different game.
It
And
is.
so a lot of people don't know that. So we have those certifications now that we are offering to the people in the community. So we've done both mental health first aid classes, of course, for people who are living with mental health challenges, but also for professionals and churches and different organizations and businesses, because it's necessary for everyone. So we're building out that ability to train the people who are serving and supporting the people who are living in the under-resourced situations. So we're actually serving people who are under-resourced, living in poverty and chaos, and also those who are serving those who are living in
I love that.
under-resourced lives. Because I worked in that. I
Yep.
remember, loved my job. You don't understand. I would have never left community mental health. Middle of downtown Warren. It was absolutely my favorite job. Working in the community, working with people who were really struggling, but we really had a great rapport, a really good connection. Um, and I would have never left that had that not changed. But I remember sitting at my desk charting, going, oh, if only this person had that, if only this person had that, but having so much need to keep my head in my lane because you're overwhelmed in your lane, let alone the other piece. So we're trying to do is we're trying to fill in the gaps that we already know exist in the system. So on our team, we have people who are former teachers. We have people who are former nurses, counselors, who we don't have on our team. We bring in to speak. It's a beautiful thing, but that's what we want to do is we want to,
Collaborate.
yeah, and that's
Collaborate
where
more. That's it.
when
That's
we
it.
started this program, everybody kept saying to me, relationships are everything. And I believed them,
They
but I
are.
didn't realize, my goodness,
Yes.
my goodness. And that's truly,
So
I think, why we do our pathway is to build those relationships for everyone.
relationships are the key no matter what business that you're in, no matter what you're doing in your business that you're in, it doesn't matter. Relationships are the key for acceleration, key for growth, key to thrive. And because again, not one person has all the strengths in the world. Not one person has all the answers in the world. So that's why it's very important to be able to collaborate. That helps out with visibility. It shows your impact of your mission.
But you had asked a little bit about our future plans, and I wanted to make sure I expanded a little bit on that. Was that part of what we want to do is we want to expand out so that we are serving in several communities at one time. So we did have a class in Girard and in Warren last fall, and that was amazing. And we actually graduated 21 people because of that, because we did 14 and 7. But also to build out the base of people that know about what we do. We're small, but mighty. And also to build out the base of people who learn from what we do. So I've really been strongly encouraging people who love what we do to come to a Ruth's Boutique because we have that dual program where we have a lunch and learn, but we also have the boutique itself. So when you have the learning part, you are being connected with someone that you may not have spoken to before. And I really feel strongly that knowledge is key. And with the programs that we offer to churches and organizations, businesses, all of that, I feel like the more we know as individuals and as organizations, the better we can serve whatever whoever we're serving,
By chance,
whether it be in a restaurant or yeah.
do you guys offer certifications? So if you went and taught a class, let's say there's some monetary value of people are paying to receive this certification from you. So
Mhm.
then they could also then apply it and teach others. Just thinking,
Well,
just thinking about
yeah,
the the effect, the ripple effect, if you will. And also thinking one person out there, unless you do take the digital course route, but still being able to expand out there and make sure because it is something so beautiful that you are educating people on to be
yeah.
able to get the message out there and the positive impact.
We don't do any train the trainers at this point, so that not that I can teach someone to teach someone. However, most of the things that we do are trainings on. We've added in a couple of just small ones like a boundaries training. These are things that you could put into your real life. The mental health first aid obviously has a monetary value. It's a 3-year certification nationally. So that's an accredited evidence-based program that you would be nationally certified in for 3 years. It's just like a first aid class or a
Yep.
CPR class. Um, and what that does is it allows you to bring that into your life. So no, there's no train the trainer, but we all know that we are all dealing with some kind of mental health challenge, substance use challenge, and it's very heavy on self-care as well, which that's a big word in this world these days. And I feel like it loses its impact now, but self-care is different for each of us, and self-care is what saves
Oh,
us.
girl, like if you like people who go get their nails done or their hair done,
Yeah,
they look at that as self-care.
absolutely. And it is.
I hate it. It drives me up the wall. I'm like, how fast can I get in? How fast can I get out?
What's your self-care, if you don't
Oh,
mind me asking?
well, binge watching TV, re
You are real. Thank you.
reading a book.
Yep.
I love infrared saunas. Like
Oh,
I do. Like I love it. So running, like
mhm.
those are myself listening to a podcast, and I'm not just saying that, but like really like listening to a podcast. I will also, so I read my fiction books. I audio listen to nonfiction books and
I
self-help books.
prefer it that way too. Don't always
So
do it that way, but I
yes,
prefer
I
it that
want to
way.
deep dive into a whole other world of in fiction, and sometimes I do because I am honestly not the best reader. So I will go back and like reread if I think that I missed something when I'm hitting another. So I that's why I love the book. Um, and I never got down with ebooks. It's just not my thing. I think it's my like my ADHD, the light, everything. Like I no, I want the page turner. I really do.
I get that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that those are hiking, nature, like napping. Those
I was going to say naps is my number one self-care. I have to say it just is. But
But like I do, like I find myself like in those other situations, like getting the nails done or your hair done, and it's like I really don't want to talk. I need this to hurry up. Like I got like
mhm.
it's it's never convenient timing. Like it's
Right.
just like let's schedule this in just like anything else. And
Yes.
if it has to be planned for me, that is not self-care. That is not
Agreed.
that's not
Agreed.
self-care.
And so I mean I think it's important for us to remember that self-care is different for each
Oh
person.
yeah.
And for me, this is self-care because when I pour into other people, that doesn't mean that I don't take time for myself. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't. And it
This
doesn't mean that I'm,
this to
any better
me
than anybody else. It's just how I love people.
This is
My love
my
language.
this is my energizer. Like
Mhm.
doing the podcast, meeting with the Dandelion-Inc. members, the collective, everything, helping people, those are my
Yes.
energizers. Like those are what feeds me to
Mhm.
deal with all the other crap that we have to do in our businesses because there's always something
Absolutely.
that we don't
Oh,
enjoy
there
doing.
is. There is. And I learned that real quick from going, from working as a staff nurse to working as the person who
Yep,
answers all the questions and,
all the
talk
things.
about talking about taking a deep dive and learning by fire. I wouldn't change it, but I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And honestly, we didn't expect for it to grow the way that it did. And I think that that is a testament to we're very unique in our approach. That pathway when we begin with providing someone the very basic need, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I can't help somebody be here if they don't know how they're going to get themselves to school or get their kid to school because they can't get tampons this month. I'm
It's
sorry.
true.
It's not going to make any difference to tell this person you have value if they can't figure out how to take care of that very basic need.
You are absolutely
It's
correct.
just it's a basic thing. And so if you want to meet someone here and bring them to this point, you have to be able to come down and have a conversation with them about very hard things to talk about.
That's right.
These are I joke, I was a nurse for 18 years. I never said the word tampons more than when I started this job. And it's
Yep.
hilarious because I talk more about reproductive health now than I did when I worked in nursing because it's so important to understand about the need, that basic need. And that's not only what we do, but it's a really good way to explain diapers. Very good way to explain. If I can't get my kid diapers to go to daycare, I can't go to work.
That's right.
Bottom line. And if you're only thinking about caring for people so that they can go to work, and that's fine and that's valid, then there's your reason right there.
Again,
So
it's
it's
about
it's a whole
drilling it
thing.
down. It's
It
about drilling
is.
it down and saying, okay, here is what you want to achieve. And that's great. It's like any attention in that you make, especially now that we're talking about it's the beginning of 2025. We all set our intentions, but that's not enough. Like you have to like set the intention and then drill down all the way in how to achieve what you want to achieve. But it starts at the space that you're currently in, and then you have to build it out from there. And it I know this and I know I equate a lot of this, but it is like running a marathon. It's like, this is what my intention is. Now, how do I get there? And that's when you drill it all the way down. And you also, when you drill it all the way down, you figure out all the factors that is going to be like, okay, this is what I know I need to do on a day to day, but these are your variables that are preventing it from happening. So
Yeah.
how do we then fix that?
Yep.
And it's such an important part of the process.
Yeah. The process is where the magic happens.
Yes, it's true.
It is. I tell people all the time, trust the process because the process, when you're going through the real process, the right process, it is where you learn everything, even the hard lessons. That's where the magic happens.
Yep,
I
it's true.
never would have had the success that I had I not looked back at the times when I really struggled and said, okay, well, when this happened to me, what would have benefited me? How can I help someone in a similar situation get through it without as many bruises? But they're going to go through it and they're going to have bruises because you don't learn. You
That's
don't
true.
grow without them. And I hate to tell people that because that's the last thing people want to hear or think or believe or experience. But it's the truth. It's
It
the
is
truth.
true. It is true. Well, I always say you can't really truly feel happiness until you truly felt sadness.
It's true.
And that is a fact.
Yep.
Okay,
It is.
so I want to thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
I love that you came. I love what you do. So if anybody wants to support Thrive 1010 after hearing how phenomenal your organization is, how can they go about doing it? And if anyone wants to participate with Thrive 1010, how can they do it?
Sure. Those of you who are with the Dandelion Collective, I am actually a part of it as well. So you could reach out to me on that forum. You can certainly give us a call, 330-980-0729. You could go to our website or our Facebook page. We pay close attention to people who connect with us, and our email is also on that as well. We are always open to having conversations with people about either volunteering, donating, or speaking. We have speakers that are staying ahead and our other programs as well. So we have a lot of opportunities for you to also share your expertise. Collaboration is key. But yes, you can contact us in any of those ways: email, website, Facebook, phone.
Every way.
We're around. And I'm
Awesome.
Meghan DeGregory. I'm the person that you would probably speak to at least first. So
There you go. Thank you,
yeah.
Meghan. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for being part of Dandelion-Inc.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for what you do.
Love it. Thank you, everyone, for listening in to The Seed. If you'd like to receive our weekly newsletter, go to dandelion-inc.com and click Let's Connect. And please be sure to subscribe to the Seeds podcast to hear more inspiring stories from other badass women that are all around us. Remember, behind every woman is a tribe of other successful women who have their back. To you all, thank you.